Alright, so this is a big one, so I figured I would document this. So, you know, this is my boat, 33-foot Sea Ray, black shiny bottom. I have two 454s on it. You know, it's like, sorry for the mess, there's all tools in there, but nice boat, you know, took it out last weekend. Now, what happened last weekend was that one side of my engine filled up with water, right? And of course, my first thought was that, you know, my knee, you know, my riser leaked inside of the manifold and filled up that engine with water, that side with the water. But turned out that wasn't it. You know, I took the riser off, filled up the you know, the inside of the engine with oil, cranked it over a few times to make sure that nothing seized, you know, so I was ready to put the new manifolds that I bought. And then turns out that what filled up my engine with water was inside of the exhaust, you know, the head case. There's a little crack, so, you know, was zipping water out, and that's what filled up the exhaust. And so yeah, it's not as easy as just putting the new exhaust manifold and headers in. I have to do the whole 9 yards. So what I have to do now is dismount all of this, take the heads out, you know, first take the exhaust manifold out, I mean the intake manifold out, which is this, you know, this whole piece. Well, to do that I have to first take this carburetor off, take, you know, the thermostat housing off, take the distributor off, you know, unwire all of this goodness so I can take these bad boys out. This one, and since I'm doing this one, might as well do the other, right? Like, why would you just do a facelift on half of the face, right? So yeah, here we go. First things first, you know, that's the exhaust right there, exhaust elbows, whatever you want to call that. Just point it out, I am not a mechanic, I am just good at stuff, all right? So give me a screwdriver and I will make it happen. So all right, first things first, right? So see, that's the cool print right there. So you can see that rust line? That's my issue. See, that's inside of my exhaust port. And yeah. All right, so I got the cap off. You see that it's draining right now. Just to comment, see, like there's like this little hard stuff in there, right? So like you're supposed to mess with it until it comes out, but it looks dry, right? So it's like, that's not their cap. Am I crazy? And then, like, you know, you just mess around with this in there, like, hey, come out, mofo, and it came out. So now I gotta do the same thing on the other side. Just start taking those cables off. Some people be scared of taking them off because when they go back in, they gotta be in the right spot. But they make it pretty easy. See, each one's marked, and I happen to know that it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So pretty easy. Now I have to take this distributor off. See, I gotta take the distributor module connection out, which is right there. And then I gotta figure out a way to unclip these wires right there so I can get this distributor out by loosening that bolt right there and kind of just wiggling it out. Sorry, I'm gonna do that right now. Okay, so I was able to take this out pretty easily. That's the distributor module. Now, oh guys, don't flatter yourself too much, okay? I am going to show this video pretty much to everybody I know, but this is more so I can look it up later and see what I did, and I don't forget what I did, right? So that's why I'm going step by step over here. So there's 3 wires, all right? 2 of them, they disconnect right there. I don't need to cut nothing because it's a boot-in connection, you know, that comes apart. And then there's a black wire, which is grounded to the chassis right there, all right? And that's how that's gonna go back in. All right, so I'm about to take this distributor off by cutting that out, but I'm gonna make a little score, like right here, because I'm hoping to not crank this engine once I have everything apart, so then I can just put everything back together and my timing will be pretty close, you know, so I won't have to, like, you know, go crazy trying to figure out where this distributor was located, because, you know, Later on I'm gonna have to set timing anyways, but the closer I am, the better it is, you know? All right. So I'm gonna take this distributor cap off, and the distributor off. I'm not quite sure how this is gonna go, so your guess is good as mine. Allegedly, I can just pull it up and see what happens. Okay. Wow, this is pretty cool. Okay, now I'm gonna take this is the coil. So right, the purple and the red is on positive, and then there's two gray ones on the negative. All right, cool. Is the feed for my choke, and the black one that comes out of the choke is grounded to the carburetor itself. So that's the wiring for the choke. Okay, now I'm gonna take this carburetor off, and I'm gonna start by taking the fuel pump line out. See, the fuel pump usually goes right there, but I already took it out, you know, the process of fixing the previous problem. So that's the water pumps attached to the fuel pump. So now I'm gonna disconnect this line, and then I can take these 4 bolts off, and those bolts hold the throttle cable connection. So there's a little spring on this side. I gotta loosen that spring. Once I loosen that spring, I can take these bolts off. And oh yeah, and this breather's right here. This is connected right there. I already took the distributor out and the carburetor out. Now I'm gonna take these out on the other manifold. But see, this oil, the oil filter is hooked to my elbow right there. So I gotta figure it out how this is gonna go back in later, because they're different. Alright, I'm about to take the intake manifold out. There's this part. So I have my distributor cap, my coil holder right there. I have an engine hook right there, and an engine hook right here. Yeah, see, like alright, there she is. That's how it looks without the intake manifold out. See, that then pushes the piston rods up. That makes that work. Everything's looking good. Now I'm gonna take that off. Let's do it. Alright, I'm gonna take this cover off. And on the last bolt over here, there's the hook for the wiring. So let's remember that, alright? Everything looks nice and good down there, so we're okay. Everything looking good. And now I gotta take this apart so the header system will come out, because see those push rods, they go all the way there. So right now they're on my way, so I gotta take that out. Alright, let's do it. Push rods from one side. As you can see, there's two on this side, but not on this side. So now all of this can come out freely. Getting a little late, but there's a header case and my exhaust manifold. Look at that beauty. So it's out already. I put some lube in there to keep everything nice and lube while I am not tending to it. So there she is without both head cases off. I left it overnight with some ATF in there, automatic transmission fluid, overnight to see if anything zipped in and if any of these were leaking. Everything looks good to now. As you can see, like nothing seems, just exactly how much I left it. Everything there is nice and lubed. What I'm gonna do now is clean this right here, and then try to flush the inside, you know, the cooling system right here. It goes all up in there and circulates around all this to cool it. So, you know, there's like a little bit of sand in there, stuff that you suck up through your engine that doesn't get out. So I'm gonna clean that up and get it ready for the heads to come back in there. The new one, that is. Yeah, baby. Alright guys, I have the new head cases already with me. It's upstairs. Now today I'm gonna take the intake line that feeds the water pump, I mean that feeds the engine from the water pump. I'm gonna take that line out, inspect the heat exchanger down there, because the heat exchangers, if you look inside there, see it's a bunch of little things, little passages. So per se, if your water pump were to fail and one of the flaps broke off, that's where it would get stuck, right there. So I'm gonna check that, just, you know, you never know. And then so see, other than that, she's pretty much, you know, nice and clean. Like, you know, she's looking beautiful, man. And here's the thing too, you see my mark right there? There's a little mark, and these things, they increase at 4, right? This is how you time your engine. So here's 0, 4, and then 2, and then 8, right? So it will be 4 until the tip here, 6 on the very first cavity, and then 8 on the very top right here, right? So each notch, this is 2, but the first one's 4. So, and you're supposed to time your engine. So let's say right now my number 1 cylinder, it's at 4 degrees off, right? So I want it to be at 8 when I time this engine. So what am I going to do here? I am gonna already have this set up at number 8, and then once I install my distributor right here, I'm gonna have touching number 1 plug already. So basically, once I put this engine all back together, this engine is gonna be perfectly timed already. I'm hoping, at least. So that's pretty cool, you know, and nobody taught me this shit. I just figured it all out. Wow, guys, on the video that I just did, I talked about how, you know, the water, the boat picks up water from the ocean through this line. It goes over there, comes to the water pump, right? That's gonna be somewhere right there, and it comes back and it passes inside 2 heat exchangers, one for the transmission, for the oil of the transmission, and one for the oil engine of oil of the engine. So 2 heat exchangers. So the water that passes the water pump, look at this. There's like all kinds of stuff in there. See that shit? Yeah, like, see that? Right, little by little she's going back together. So I just reinstalled the alternator. Now I'm gonna put this intake manifold on. Right, so close. Now I just have to put one more riser right there. See, that one's all installed. Everything's back together. I just installed the thermostat housing, the water pump under there. Just gotta put the fuel pump in there, and getting really close, really close. All right, guys, there she is. She's all brand new and done and good to go. All right, hit the key, man. Tying it to perfection. Good job.